Did you know that the California Bankruptcy Homestead Exemption changed dramatically on January 1, 2021? Did you know the Bankruptcy Homestead Exemption can be very different based on what county you happen to live in? The very same home that is protected in one county could be taken and sold to pay creditors if it's across the street but happens to be in another county. Do you want to know what the new California Homestead Exemption amount is for your county? You should. Keeping your home in bankruptcy may just depend on it. Knowing the exemption amount in your county may make the difference between keeping your home and having it sold to pay creditors in bankruptcy. I'm going to show you how to find out what your county's homestead exemption amount is using the best available information there is today. Hello, I'm Gary Ray Fraley. I'm a California bankruptcy law specialist with my office in Sacramento, California. I represent people and businesses in most northern and central California, the Bay Area, Gold Country, and Eastern Sierras. About the first question potential clients ask me is, can I protect my home if I file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Sadly, under the old California homestead law, I often had to say, no, we can't protect your home. The new California homestead exemption law changed that. Now, I usually get to tell them, yes, you can file Chapter 7 bankruptcy and still keep your home. The old California homestead law protected amounts of $75,000, $100,000, and $175,000, depending on whether it's an individual, married couple, head of household, age, income, and disability status. The old homestead protecting equity in a person's home was the same no matter where in California the home was, to the extent that was simple. Unfortunately, the old homestead exemption simply was too low to protect the equity in their home from creditors or a Chapter 7 bankruptcy trustee. The new California homestead exemption that went into effect January 1, 2021 is much better at protecting equity in people's homes. It protects a minimum of $300,000 in equity no matter what county the home is located in. That is much better than the maximum exemption of $175,000 that we had before. In addition, it can protect up to $600,000 equity in some counties. However, in many counties, the California homestead exemption is somewhere between that $300,000 minimum and that $600,000 maximum homestead amounts. California, as usual, is unique in having a homestead exemption that changes for each county. If your home has less than $300,000 in equity in it, then you're safe filing bankruptcy as long as you get the bankruptcy trustee to abandon the bankruptcy estate's rights in your home back to you rather quickly. Now I'll explain all about that in another video. The new homestead exemption amount is determined by your county's median sale price for a single-family detached home in the whole calendar year before the year you claim your homestead exemption. Well, that's wonderful if you can find out what that homestead amount is for your county. You'd think, okay, that must be easy to find on the internet, on a government website, or somewhere. No, it can't be that easy. The median sale price for the whole prior calendar year for each county is not available anywhere. What is available is, strangely enough, the median sale price for each month for the calendar year for almost every county in California. The monthly median sale price for each county will likely continue to be available each year from now on. So the process I'm describing here should be good into the future. I've taken the median sale price for each county for each month from January through December of last year and totaled that 12 months of median sale prices for each county. I then divided that number by 12 to get the average median sales price for the year. Keep in mind, the average median sale price for the 12 months is not the same as the median sales price for the year. Each year's actual median sale price would be the point where half of the houses for that year sold for more money and half sold for less money. That's not the average. Okay, now, since that information is unavailable, I can only provide the best estimate of the median sale price for the last year through this calculation method, which should work for future years, at least until the government figures out how to develop an actual set of numbers that match the law. I've discussed this method of calculating the homestead exemption for each county with both bankruptcy judges and bankruptcy trustees. Their typical response was that my method of calculating the homestead exemption was better than anything they've come up with, and would accept that amount unless or until somebody came up with something better. Well, the only thing that could be better than my method of calculating the homestead exemption is if the correct amount could be obtained from government statistics. Now, be wary of attorneys that come up with some homestead amount off the cuff or in round thousands of dollars, unless it's a minimum $300,000 figure. The likelihood of homestead amounts being a figure that's exactly on the $1,000 increments is pretty low. Some attorneys and trustees are using the median sale price for December of the prior year and calling that amount the homestead exemption. When homes are going up in value, that amount will be much higher than the real median sale amount for the whole year, and as such, will be higher than the true available homestead exemption. If a trustee accepts it, as some are, well, that's fine. The question is, do you want to gamble on that number being accepted? The December median sale price is an easy figure for attorneys to find, but it's not what the law says. Don't trust that claimed homestead exemption amount if it is challenged, as it is not the best or closest number to the actual homestead amount. The more the homestead exemption claim is, based on sloppy numbers, the higher the risk is that a bankruptcy trustee or creditor will challenge your homestead exemption. The easiest number for a bankruptcy lawyer to come up with is almost always not the most accurate. Where this becomes a real problem is where the equity in your home is close to or above the amount of what they think the homestead actually is. If the court cites with a bankruptcy trustee or creditor that the amount is less than what you claimed is your homestead, you risk, number one, having your home sold to pay creditors if there's too much equity. Number two, you may not be able to remove a judgment lien off of your home. Three, you may not be able to strip a second mortgage off your home in a Chapter 13 reorganization. You can't do it in Chapter 7. Or you may have to spend the next 5 years in a reorganization to pay your creditors the unprotected, non-exempt amount of equity in your home. And that's if you can qualify to do a Chapter 13 reorganization. Now understand, I cannot guarantee any bankruptcy judge or trustee in your region will accept my system of calculating the dollar amounts of your California homestead exemption. I can only tell you that no one has yet come up with a better way to calculate the California homestead exemption, including the bankruptcy judges and trustees, given that the amounts are actually not available. Now, word of warning. There are certain issues that can limit whether you even use any of the California exemptions. or whether federal law will limit the use of the California homestead exemption to $170,350. These are not things that the California homestead exemption mentions, and most attorneys don't know about. That's why I teach seminars for attorneys. I will be posting a video up in the near future explaining what those limitations are. If you want to know what the estimated homestead amount is for your county, go to the new California homestead exemption link in the description below this video. You can also get a free copy of my book, 49 Do's and Don'ts You Need to Know When Considering Bankruptcy. It is both informative and written for real people. It also has a bit of my quirky humor in it. The link is in the description below. I think you'll like it. If you'd like an in-person or Zoom strategy session with a bankruptcy law specialist worth $450 at no charge, you can call my office at 916-485-5444 or fill out the consultation form in the upper right-hand corner of our sacramentobankruptcyattorneys.com homepage. The link is in the description below. To find out what counties we serve, you can do that by going to the sacramentobankruptcyattorneys.com/counties link, which is also in the description below. We'll schedule a strategy session to review your financial situation, discuss all your options with you, and develop a plan to solve your financial problems. I hope this information was useful. Please give it a thumbs up, comment on it, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to be informed when I open up and upload my next video. They say knowledge is power. Isn't it time you got your power back? This is Fraley signing off for now. I look forward for you to joining me in my next video.